welcome to the Film Obsessed Couple. I'm Shelley,
And I'm Scott.
and we're going to be talking about a movie called The Kiss.
Yes, it was a Shelley recommend.
Mm-hmm. You know, we got two of my recommendations this month.
Yes, but when you say that, it sounds like I don't listen to you.
No, that's not that. It's just, I am always like, I don't care what we listen to or what we watch. So to me, it makes no difference.
Mm-hmm.
But this month, I'm like, ooh, I love scary movies and I want to watch these movies. And you were like, okay.
Yeah, I had to think. I was like, what was the other one we did? But Night of the Demons.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute since we recorded because last week we could not get our equipment to work.
Man.
We were going to record this so I would have like the week to edit it.
Yeah, technical difficulties is the worst.
Yes. Yeah, I was tearing my hair out because I usually deal with the equipment and Shelley is very handy. So usually if things go wrong, I'm like, I was thinking of doing this or what do you recommend I do for that? But this time she's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
So
no.
I was like, God, it's all on me.
Yeah.
I replaced the little box because I stole a guy's idea on YouTube. He was like, this is what I do to record directly into my iPad. And he's like, so you can use it however you want. I'm like, I'm stealing the whole thing.
Yeah, all of it.
So we use a box to put the microphones into, to go into a HDMI switch, to go into the iPad.
I mean, I don't see why anything goes wrong.
There's a million cables. So I was just, oh gosh, I replaced the little HDMI switch. I replaced the cable that goes into the iPad that the switch goes into. And it turned out to just be one of the cables, like one of the tiny cables.
Man,
So
of course.
yeah, I was freaking out because you don't want to have to replace an iPad.
No, absolutely not. I'd be like, we're not doing that.
Well, I was also freaking out because I had updated my iPad, and I'm like, did this update not allow me to work with the Ferrite recording studio we use? And tons of things. So this is why you're getting a second episode on Halloween.
Yes. So, I mean, it kind of works out. And, you know, last episode we talked about how October just doesn't treat us well sometimes.
Yes.
And it certainly hasn't. But we're going to roll with it. Whatever happens, we're just rolling with it.
Yes, not to take away the poll that we put up, not to take away from that by releasing another episode. We had technical difficulties, and instead of just calling it, we wanted to talk about this, so you're getting two.
Yeah, because I picked the damn movie. We're gonna talk about it.
We watched it, and we took notes on it, and son of a bitch, we're going to talk about it.
Son of a bitch.
So, with this movie, I wanted to ask you, do you remember when you first saw it?
It's probably like The Night of the Demons. Because they kind of go hand in hand with my movie watching. So I'm like 13, 14. Again, I really don't think a 13 or 14-year-old should be watching these kind of movies.
Yeah, this movie, and maybe, first off, we watched it on YouTube, because that's the only place I could find it.
Yeah, which was not the best. If you did that, then you know that it was not the best visual.
Like transfer.
Yeah, but
It is blurry.
You still get the idea. You can buy it on Amazon
Yes, we found that out last night.
for $26 or $29.
I think that you actually buy the rights to the movie for that amount. You actually own it.
Yeah.
Did you see this on video or did you see it on TV?
Okay, so my stepdad, what he did is, and I'm sure it's illegal. It was probably illegal then, and I know it's illegal now. But like when shows would come up on TV, he would just record it on VHS.
Gotcha.
So we would have several movies on one VHS tape.
Okay.
And he was very organized where he would put like the movie name and the times that it was.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, if it was the second movie, you didn't want to have to try to figure out where
Yeah.
it starts. You can just fast forward to that time. So it's very nice. We had a whole wall
Oh, wow.
of VHSs of all kinds of movies. So I think that's why I would watch some over and over. Because, I mean, some of this stuff was like Westerns and I wasn't like a huge fan. Some of them are okay. The horror ones were really great.
Yeah, I bet. My sister, now that you're talking about that, I have flashbacks to her, like, duplicating VHS tapes.
Mm-hmm.
I think she had, like, the two VCRs. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I do remember her doing that, and we would have, like, Interview with the Vampire. After we rented it, she would have that on VHS.
Yeah, I'm sure that's like pirating or something.
I'm sure that is. Maybe recording it off a TV might not be. I don't know.
I don't know. We didn't sell it or anything. It was just for our own pleasure.
Right. Surprise, surprise. Well, maybe that's why they don't consider it. But surprise, surprise, I'd never have read that FBI warning at the beginning of the tapes.
Yeah, nah.
There's probably something in there, but I've always skipped it.
FBI's forward.
Yeah. So great. Well, yes, we're kind of sticking around the same time frame here, like in the late 80s. This is 1988.
Yeah, I love that year.
It's kind of a forgotten movie because I tried to find it before we watched it, and it's not on Amazon. It's not really anywhere, but it is on streaming on YouTube. Now, if you're worried about missing out on good parts and stuff, I was shocked there is nudity in this on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So you're not missing anything.
Yep, yeah, and I'm really surprised that this kind of fell off the edge of the earth. I mean, there's so many. It's not bad. I mean, it's not good, but it's not bad. Like, there are worse horror movies out there.
Right.
Like Society.
Which, after we finished watching Society, you immediately was like, we should watch The Kiss.
Yes.
And I was like, why? And then the ending, I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
This movie felt like a Lifetime movie to me, and I think it's only just because it was so blurry.
Maybe.
And old. It felt like an old kind of movie you would see on Lifetime, Some actors in this... There are some actors that went on to do some things in this movie. Of course, the lady that plays Felice, her name is Joanna Pacula. She's probably most well known for playing Kate, Doc Holliday's girlfriend/enabler in Tombstone with Kurt Russell.
Okay.
And Sean Levy, the boyfriend who keeps losing his earring, is now a huge director. Directed a ton of Stranger Things episodes. He has directed The Night at the Museums. He's been in a ton.
Yeah. And he's not a bad actor in this.
Not a bad actor, no. He started as an actor I'd seen him act before in a movie called Zombie Nightmare that was on Mystery Science Theater.
Oh.
He plays the...
I bet that was a good movie.
It's not bad. He plays the literally insane teenager. He runs over a guy with his friends on a car. Damn. And he doesn't care. He has a speech where he's like, I liked it.
Whoa.
Yeah. But he gets a bat. I had to watch it later on YouTube, go figure, because in Mystery Science Theater they had to cut a bunch out. If there was any nudity or any violence, they had to edit it.
Yeah.
So in the Mystery Science Theater version, the zombie comes up on him and then it cuts and he's just dead. But if you watch it on YouTube or find the actual movie, he gets a bat impaled through his stomach.
Oh shit.
Yeah. This movie does have a lot of similarities to Stranger Things, and maybe it's just because we're watching them now, but we'll get to them. The lady that plays Amy, she's gone on and done a lot of voice work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's done a lot of cartoons and stuff like that. She is also in the movie Lake Placid. Have you seen that with the giant crocodile?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Betty White's in it. She
Yeah,
curses a storm. She plays the horny sheriff that falls in love with Oliver Platt's character.
Wow.
Yeah, they're having sex and getting it on and stuff.
She's so innocent in this movie.
Kinda. The director, God, he just wants to keep showing her in her bathing suit.
Well,
Which, speaking of the director, his name is Penn Densham, which I'm assuming Swedish it sounds like, but he has not directed much, but he did produce a bunch of movies. He's been nominated for a couple of Oscars for producing. One of the movies he produced, the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie.
Okay, not bad.
We might as well go ahead and get started here. And did you have anything else to talk about the cast? Anybody you recognize?
No, let's get into it.
This movie starts in the Belgian Congo in 1963.
Long, long time ago.
Yes. It seems even longer when you're watching the movie. You feel like it's in the 1800s, the way people are dressed.
Right, because it's there's a train there, and then everybody has their fancy clothes on.
Yes. Yeah, you see I'm assuming smuggled animals. There's jaguars in cages and elephant tusks all laid out on the ground, which is just horrifying.
And monkeys. Yeah, it's kind of oh, so sad.
Yeah. So we see a family, and it's two girls, a dad, and I thought it was the mom at first, but you find out it's the aunt later. Mm-hmm. So I think the younger sister, who we find out is Felice, is going to live with the aunt at the time, and the older sister is going to stay with the dad.
Yeah, because Felice is sick.
Okay, great. I'm glad you remembered that, because I'm like, why did they leave?
Yeah, yeah. I guess if you're sick, you got to get the hell out of Dodge,
Yes. Now, do you think that this would be easier to talk about if we just went ahead and talked about what the twist is? Well, I think it'll. Let's just get it out of the way because I don't know. I think it'll work better. So
Maybe.
basically, is Felice? It turns out is like a demon, like a she's possessed by like a parasite that keeps her alive even though she's dead.
Right. But that's only because the aunt
Yes.
put it inside of her.
What she's got to get and put it in her. So, yes, there's this whole thing with the family of passing down. You think it's like a curse or something, or when the aunt passes it on to Felice in a minute, I thought she had like possessed her.
Mm-hmm. Because
So,
they kiss.
the kiss. Yeah,
Yeah.
they the kiss.
The kiss.
So, yeah, that's kind of the twist of the movie of what is really going on. And I think as we talk about it, maybe we'll see if it makes sense. Because when we finished the movie, I was like, wait a second. None of this made sense. So the dad gives Felice, the daughter, like a cross.
Is the mom's necklace.
Yeah, and the mom has died, and I think that's why now they're kind of splitting up with Felice being sick and the mom dead. And the dad made me think that he was in on it here because he says to Felice before they leave, he's like, "No matter what happens, I will always love you."
Aw.
Well, that made me think that like even if you're a dead demon possessed inside of you, I will always love you.
And you kill other people
Mm-hmm.
with a psycho cat. It's totally fine. Yeah, and I thought it was weird because Felice had the necklace, and then the dad was like, "How about you leave it with your sister for safekeeping?
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna turn you don't need this cross anymore because you're gonna be a demon."
Well, for some reason, Felice is adverse to religion. She takes the cross down in her bedroom later, and she says to that priest, like, if you really believed in God, I wouldn't be able to come in here.
Yeah.
But they don't talk about that.
No, they don't. But that kind of makes sense with the cross, though.
Yes.
The necklace.
Yes, that makes me wonder if this movie, and that's why I thought when we watched it on YouTube, I was like, is it all here? It says it's an hour and a half, but there definitely feels like there could be more in here. But scenes deleted is what I'm going to call the stuff that doesn't add up.
But you're probably right that the dad knew about it. That's why he's like, "Hey, just leave that cross.
Where you're going, you're not going to need that cross.
It's gonna burn your skin later."
Yes, so they get on the train, and you know, and I said how miserable this train must be. Again, me thinking it was in the 1800s, I was like, oh, no air conditioning on this train, but it's the 60s. Like, that was really in a time where air conditioning could have been on a train.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I mean, there wasn't air conditioning in schools,
No,
so
they
they
didn't get
best not
that.
have it on a train.
Yeah, they didn't get that until I was in school, which was like 2006 is when I graduated. But again, this opening really fucked up my head thinking it was in like the 1800s because I'm like, oh God, traveling in a train in the 1800s must have been miserable. It was the 60s, 1963. So they're traveling, and the aunt has like this statue in her hands, and I rewatched a little bit of this again just to kind of refresh myself, which I noticed this time it's a parasite coming out of the mouth.
Which I always thought it was a tongue.
I did too, but after you watch the movie and you rewatch it again, it kind of makes more sense if it's like a parasite coming out of it. It looks definitely like the statue is going like blah, 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 blah. And
Getting
Felice,
some tongue.
yeah, Felice is all like, "Oh, what's that weird ass looking statue?" And she's like, "Oh, well, it's been in our family for generations." We cut a little bit. Felice is asleep, and the aunt grabs her and kisses her.
Mm-hmm.
And the lights go out on the train. I don't know why I didn't think there was air conditioning. There's lights. But
It's the 1800s, honey.
yeah, you know, the lights flicker on and off, and you know, the train stops, everybody gets off, and the attendant comes in to like kind of check the train, and he sees the aunt is dead. Her skin is like off. She's like a skeleton, basically.
Yeah, right. Like she's been burnt or melted.
Yeah, and then Felice gets off the train, and she looks amazing. She looks like completely rejuvenated.
Mm-hmm.
She almost looks like a different person, so that's when I was like, well, maybe the aunt has possessed this little girl now.
Yeah, she looked like 10 years older.
Yeah, she does. So now the scariest part of this movie, we cut, it says 25 years later in Albany, New York, we're in a church.
Yeah.
Scary, scary, scary.
I was burning a little. I was
I-
like, ooh, ooh.
Well, again, what we do in the shadows, burning at the sight of God.
They Do you renounce Satan?
Yeah. This movie builds up the whole thing about like God and stuff, but it doesn't really go anywhere with it. Like later the little girl Amy is like, her friend is like, "Oh, your mom really is into this religious stuff." And she's like, "Yeah, I guess so." And it doesn't go anywhere.
Like, it's not cool, but yeah, she is.
But we're in this church because it's like a coronation ceremony, I guess, or
It's Catholic Church, so
I don't know.
fuck, I don't know.
He's basically the priest is like, "You are all now soldiers of Christ."
Whatever Catholics do in the church, that's what happened.
I don't know.
Sorry, we are not knowledgeable of that.
They are drafted to being soldiers of Christ, is what the priest says, and so now we cut to the house, the main family's house, because they're having like a huge party. Because I'm assuming that's what you do after whatever this ceremony was.
Well, yeah, you're a soldier. You gotta be like partying it up and drinking and having a hamburger and
Hitting on girls, as this priest is shown to do.
yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that as like a joke. This priest is like hitting on a little girl here in just a second.
Yeah. Yep.
We get it set up here that there is a bug zapper in this house, and it is
Yeah.
destroying bugs like left and right. You hear just like,
Yeah, those zappers. I don't know. I don't know if they're still around. We used to have one.
yeah, I know. Well, the dad, his name is Jack, and he's got a pretty nice looking beard. This dude is always smiling.
He's very happy.
No matter what, like he's always smiling. His name is Nicholas Kilbertus.
Whoa.
He has no picture on the IMDb, so you know.
Oh, that's sad.
It says his number one movie on IMDb is he played security guard number 2 in the movie Scanners.
Oh, so he didn't even want to put this one in.
I didn't see it.
He's like one of the main characters.
He is, yeah. I don't know, but he and his wife, you know, they start making out here because she's in like a bathing suit walking around, and he's like grilling. This grill will come into play later as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they start kissing, and the wife's all like, "Not in front of the clergy." And he's like, "Hey, baby, it's okay. I got a letter from the Pope." And then their friend Brenda comes in with this gigantic speaker, like she's carrying it around like a boombox, like in the 80s, like the kids would. And she puts it down and starts dancing. Because we're having a wild time, man.
It's not like the church kind of music you would think of, too. It's kind of rock. It's got some beats. It's not bad.
Yeah. I'm surprised. You think that all that would be illegal now that you're a soldier of Christ.
I know.
So we meet the main character. Her name is Amy. And like I said, her actress, Meredith Salinger, has gone on to be in some things, but she's mainly a voice actor, like we said. And she's talking to her friend Heather, who her IMDb photo looks nothing like she does now.
Absolutely not.
She's got blonde hair in this, is kind of like a bubbly teen, and it looks on IMDb she's got dark hair and she looks very depressed.
And she's got like baby bangs, like the shorter bangs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty crazy. So
she turned into a goth.
Yeah,
she was like a preppy blonde girl and then turned into a goth.
Yeah, I think so. Well, they're talking and she's like, "Oh, I got a gift certificate and I'm going to get a CD player for becoming a soldier in Christ's army." And this is where there's a very quick shot of like a priest chatting a young girl up. Like, he definitely looks like he's hitting on her. And I'm like, wow, did they know already? The revelation that those priests were actually doing that to kids didn't come out yet, but they must have known.
Yeah, ew.
Amy's mom, I don't remember her name. She's not in it very long, spoiler. But she comes over and gives Amy the cross from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. You're a soldier now, and this is yours, so you won't burn.
Yes. I think the mom knows, like, because Amy was all like, "Oh, my mom is very into religion, you know, it means a lot to her." So she must know that this stuff, it works against Felice.
I think so.
I don't know how.
Because, I mean, the phone call later, it kind of leans towards that, too.
This is right here, yeah, because Amy gets a phone call, and she's all like, "Hello," and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll go get my mom." And the mom comes on, and she's like, "It's, Aunt Felice?" And the mom looks like she just heard that somebody died. She's like, "Oh my God."
It's like, holy shit.
We hear Aunt Felice, Joanna Pacula, on the phone, and she's all basically like, "It's time."
Yeah, so, I mean, the mom knows what's going on, and she's all just like, nope, I'm busy this week.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I guess they must have had a conversation at some point that Felice could transfer this parasite onto Amy when she's old enough.
Yeah, I mean, why doesn't she just have her own kid? Like Felice, why don't she just...
Because, spoiler alert, she's
a
dead.
demon. Yeah, that's right.
Well, they find out later that her body is basically dead.
You can always adopt.
True.
I mean, I feel sorry for that adopted kid.
What do you want this kid for? I'm going to possess it when he's old enough.
Okay, just sign here.
Yeah. We've got too many kids already. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're not the first person to say that. The mom walks up to Jack, the dad, and she's like, oh, we're all out of Coke. And it being the 80s, I just assumed they were talking about drugs.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just go down to the corner.
Yeah, but he's like, already? We got 3 cases. I'm like, oh, Coke.
Oh, what you drink. Oh my gosh.
So the dad's like, well, hang on, I'll go grab some more for everybody. And the mom, sealing her fate, is like, no, I'll go get it. That's okay. I'll go run and grab some more Coke for everybody.
She had to have known. Like, it felt like she was doing this intentionally.
Well, we're about to get there. When we do, I'll talk about what I think might have happened because
Okay.
it doesn't really make sense. But so we meet Sean Levy, the guy who's directed Stranger Things. His name is Terry. He's got his hair back in a ponytail this whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he works at a very prestigious, like, cake shop, I guess.
Yeah, it's in the mall. I don't know.
He's always working. Like, later you see him driving by, and I'm just like, damn, that guy is working.
He's trying to be a, director.
I guess. Like,
Gotta work hard for that.
It was the 80s. Cake businesses were booming.
Yeah.
But this is where I would tell him no thank you because he walks up with the cake and the girls must already know him because Amy and Heather are like, oh, hey, you're Terry. And he's like, yeah, you must know me from working at the cake shop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty famous. But he opens up the cake to show and it's like in the shape of a cross, if I remember right. The cake is,
Oh,
I think.
can't remember.
Makes sense. It's a Jesus thing.
We'll say that.
But he goes, oh shit, my stud, his earring fell out. And they find it in the cake.
Yeah, and then do you know what Amy does?
She like picks it out and licks her finger.
Yeah. No, she licks the earring. She
Earring?
sucks the
Ooh, frosting?
frosting off of it.
That's gross. I'd be like, oh, hey, can you give me another one?
Yuck.
Can you go back and get me another one? Because your fucking earring fell into my cake?
Now, if it was my own earring, sure.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh shit, no foul. Or,
But if it's somebody else's, even if it was in your ear, I wouldn't be like sucking the frosting off of it.
yeah.
I mean, it's a waste of frosting, which is just a shame. I would not be doing that.
Yeah, no, it's very gross. Very, very gross. So Sean Levy, Terry, he walks off with the cake to go put it down. Everyone's going to be eating his ear hole cake.
Ugh.
But Heather calls Amy a tramp for hitting on him. And now we see the mom walking down like the street, like Skid Row of this town, I guess. It doesn't look very bad, but she's walking by like a general store and she's looking at all these guns that are in the window.
Yeah. See, she planned it.
Yes. Yeah, she knew. And then a truck out of nowhere swerves.
To miss like a little kid or something.
I guess so. Yeah, it swerves to miss a kid and just hits this mom straight through the window of this general store.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we find out later that Felice can control a cat, and we don't know why. But I'm thinking the cat was driving the truck that hit the mom.
Yes. That makes total sense. That's why it swerved. It can't fucking drive. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
it
a
can't reach
cat.
the pedals.
He's all like, meow.
It's like that SNL skit, Toonces, the cat that's always driving the car.
No, I don't.
Not that one either. There should be some dialogue about that later where she's like, oh, I'm sorry that cat was driving the car. Like, how crazy is that a cat drove a vehicle?
And killed your mom.
And then they find the cat and they're like, that's the same cat that killed my mom.
Yeah, and this cat is just nasty looking.
Yeah, there should be like wanted posters of this cat up later. You just see him as they walk through the town. It's like, wanted cat for drinking and driving. So the mom's underneath this car and she almost gets impaled by like a spear. Something shoots out of the truck, I think.
This was tense. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't as tense. I remember this when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, she's going to get crushed. This wheel's going to be coming at her. There's so many different things that
Right.
are, it's like Final Destination.
Yes, it was.
I'm
There's
like,
a couple of them like that in here.
oh, okay. You'll have
in
to
the
point
movie.
out the other one.
Yeah, well, Escalator, I'll say it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think Final Destination took some cues from this movie.
Maybe.
That's why I heard in the first draft of the Final Destination script, it wasn't death that was trying to kill them, it was a feral cat.
Meow.
So they start pulling the mom out from the truck, and from the view that you see, they pull her, and her leg comes out from under her skirt and stays on the ground.
Yeah, which I have no idea how that would have gotten chopped off.
I don't know.
The glass?
Glass. Maybe she hit something when she fell in the store, or it pushed her over the store. But they pull her out, and we cut to the dad in a hospital, and we see like a nurse or a doctor come out from the hospital, and they just whisper something to him. And this dad looks heartbroken, but then he just stares at the camera like, can you believe this?
Yeah.
My wife's dead. Are you guys paying attention?
Did you just see that shit? The doctor was out here for 2 seconds?
He didn't even comfort me.
Jesus.
They're like, Nicholas, don't look at the camera. Don't look at the camera, Nicholas. God damn it. That guy doesn't deserve an IMDb picture.
Yeah, no picture for you.
You ever submit your application for a picture, I'm going to come out against you. Say, no, this man looked at the camera.
He looked at the camera. That is one thing you do not do unless you're She-Hulk. And then it's okay.
Or Deadpool breaking the fourth wall. This is a horror movie. This isn't a comedy.
That's right.
So we now cut and we're at the funeral for the mom, and this priest is like throwing holy water on the casket, I imagine, which is something that they do.
God,
I know.
I don't know.
But he's all like, get this fucking water on here. he's like jabbing it at it. He's like, bah, bah.
It's how he takes out his aggression.
I guess.
It's healthy.
There, Amy sees a woman standing in the trees kind of away from the party and doesn't say anything, and it's so crazy to me because the dad and Amy are kind of hugging, standing together, and Amy is like, Dad, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. And he's like, how are you doing? I'm like, your wife and mom have died. Like, what kind of a fucking question is that?
I think it's just like, I don't know. What else are you going to say?
I don't know, be like, I'm sorry for your loss, but she's like, are you okay, Dad? He's like, are you serious? My wife just died.
No, I'm not okay. I'm
Absolutely
about to throw
not.
myself in this hole.
I'm going to have him take the casket out, and I'm going to have him put it on top of me and then bury it.
Yeah. Then you'll be an orphan.
Then you have to live with your Aunt Felice and get possessed. For real.
How about that?
So we cut to 5 months later, and one of many shots of this girl, Amy, in her bathing suit. We were watching a little bit of it last night to refresh, and I was joking around that this director was like, now, how old are you? You're 18? Would you be okay with being in a bikini for most of these shots?
I thought it was a one piece.
Oh, yeah, it is. I guess, is there a difference? Bikini is not a single?
Bikinis, too.
Okay.
Top and bottom, where you can see your mid.
So it's like a bathing suit, then? If it's one?
Yes.
Okay. But she's in, like, a white bathing suit for this whole movie, basically. I mean, many shots of her.
I didn't find it very sexual.
I guess there's a shot here in a bit where she's laying on, like, the diving board, and you get, like, a bunch of side boob.
Oh.
And I was like, how old is this girl? But Amy is now taking up what she's telling her dad is trying to hold her breath. I think she's really just trying to kill herself. She's like, oh, I'm trying to hold my breath longer underwater. And the dad's like, oh, you're going to make it. And he drinks, like, some alcohol right in front of her.
Well, you don't know it's alcohol until she takes a drink of it. Because it looks like orange juice.
Oh, right.
And she took a little drink. She's like, what do you got in your vodka?
Yeah, she's like, at 11 a.m. drinking vodka or something like that is what she says. And
the dad's like, what? I like my screwdrivers.
Yeah. And she says something like, well, I don't want to see you become a lush. Lush, kind of like an old, outdated term. And she says something about coming home and finding that he's peed his pants. I can't remember exactly what she says there, but something about him becoming a lush and peeing his pants.
Yeah, just a drunk that pees his pants. That's it. Because if you're drunk, that's what you do. You pee your pants.
Yeah.
Every time when I've been drunk, that's what I do.
Well,
is that not common?
It is for Liam Neeson.
I mean, listeners, when you get drunk, do you pee your pants? Oh, boy. Oh, poor guy. And he's just like, what? I'm drunk. This is what happens.
You pee your pants.
I'm trying to make this natural.
He's the guy from Taken, Liam Neeson. He's like, I have one particular set of skills. Pissing my pants.
But he's drunk, so it's okay.
I guess, this movie, yeah. But he says something. I don't know what this dad was doing at this time, like his work, because he was like, oh, it's so hard to balance these books. Your mom was so good at it, and I don't know how to do it. So I'm like, oh, is he an accountant?
Yeah.
Taking over?
This is another thing. The scenes were cut.
Yeah, scenes deleted. We find out later he's an architect, but I'm like, what? I guess maybe the mom did the bills, and he's all like, I don't know how to do this.
Which at that time was a little rare.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Amy is like walking outside of the house, and then Terry drives by again in his cake van, and he's like, Amy, come see me at the mall. He's like, this business of cake delivery is never gonna die.
It's the only time you'll see me.
Yeah.
Because I work all the time.
I guess it's a very lucrative business. So Amy has now gone over to the family friend Brenda's house, and they're watching a Marlena Dietrich movie where it's like Aboriginals are dancing and she's like singing.
I think it was meant to be like an African type of thing.
Yeah,
Like voodoo.
yeah, maybe so. Speaking of Mystery Science Theater, there is a movie called The Leech Woman where they go to Africa and encounter like a African tribe.
Whoa.
It made me feel like that, but they're just watching this movie for a good portion of time. They're like, and she's like, "Oh, who's that beautiful woman?" And Brenda's like, "That is Marlena Dietrich." And he's like, "Oh, she had sex with the man, and now she's trying to get him." And we're just watching this movie for a minute. And then Amy's like, "Oh, Brenda, do you think I'm old enough to have a boyfriend?"
Mm-hmm.
And Brenda's like, "Why?" And she's like, "Well, am I old enough to have sex?" And I'm just like, "This is getting weird."
Yeah, if I was, I mean, good thing Brenda's a good friend. And I mean, her mom's not around, so who is she going to ask? Even though I don't ever remember asking my mom if I was old enough to have a boyfriend.
No, I never asked about old enough to. I definitely didn't ask if I was old enough to have sex, but I didn't ask if I was old enough to have a girlfriend.
Yeah, you don't even talk about sex.
Yeah, because Amy thinks that she's the last virgin left in town, she says, and Brenda's like, "Well, that's not a bad thing." They start talking about Brenda's first time, and if I was Brenda, I'd be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa,
That's too much.
a little much." But Brenda goes on a very crazy story about how her first time was with a guy at school. He won a Mickey Dolenz lookalike contest, which is, he was from the Monkees.
Okay.
He was one of the guys in the Monkees. They went to a hotel room after prom. They started drinking gin and lemon soda,
Ooh,
which that does not sound good at all.
no.
And they got it on.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy is like, "Oh, did it hurt?" And she's like, "It hurt like hell." She's
Yeah.
like, "But I looked down one night, we were getting it on and whatnot, and I looked down in the dark and saw this green shining thing." And it's like, and he had bought a glow-in-the-dark condom.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's like, and I could not quit laughing. I'm sure that man still has therapy about that to this day.
He had a glow-in-the-dark penis.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, glow-in-the-dark rod. So they laugh about that story, and then Brenda's like, "Oh, are you hungry? I'm going to make you some tomato sandwiches."
Sandwiches.
Which they just don't, that doesn't sound very good to me. Just a tomato sandwich?
No, you gotta have cheese on it. And, and Miracle Whip. And bacon. And lettuce.
Yeah, like BLT. So we now see Amy and her dad. They go to the tombstone of the mom and are like standing there, and then wouldn't you know it, Aunt Felice pops out.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. She's like, "Oh, excuse me. I'm just, was waiting for you here so I could possess your daughter. I'm Aunt Felice."
She does have an accent.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it, but I'm sure I'm not doing it very well.
It's an accent.
The actress is a Polish lady, so I was like, I wonder, because in Tombstone she has an English accent. Or, no, she doesn't. She has an American accent. So I was wondering if she was really, or if she was putting on the English accent in this.
I don't know.
Amy puts it together that Felice was the woman at the funeral, standing away from everybody. The dad says she could have stood with him. It would have been just fine since she's family. Oh, Felice says right here, she's like, "Well, your mom and I weren't very close, but I still loved her."
Oh.
And this doesn't really get explained why, but there's like another funeral going on over on the next plot or whatever. It's like a tiny baby because Amy sees a baby casket get taken out of a hearse.
Oh.
But as Felice is talking to the parents, she leaves with the dad and Amy. Like this wind picks up, and the priest that was hucking holy water on the mom's casket was all like, "Whoa, ooh, I wonder what this wind is about. Hope there's not like an evil parasitic demon that's trying to possess people in my town now."
Yeah, I just got some goosebumps. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah.
I'll just flirt with another kid and drink some more holy water.
So we cut back to Amy in a bathing suit again. Amy's swimming, and Jack, the dad, and Felice are drinking. Of course, they're sitting, and very strangely, Amy gets out of the pool, and Felice just like keeps touching her and touching her face.
Yeah.
She's like, "She could have been a model, right, Jack?" And he's like, "You look great, honey."
Yeah.
She's like, "She looks more than great. She looks perfect."
And then she puts like this thin shawl looking thing around her that's like leopard print.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just kind of weird. Like this whole part was very weird.
Yeah. It's very strange because Felice, they're like, oh, what happened? And she's like, well, this is like, I went on to become a model and wound up with 2 divorces. And I'm starting to sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. 2 divorces. That's how I'm going to do that. I wound up with 2 divorces. And your mother wound up with a family and you. And so now we cut to them in the kitchen. Felice is chopping up some veggies and she gives Amy like this drink. She's like, oh, Amy, this is like a drink. It'll make you perfect.
Vitamin juices.
Yeah. It'll really help you pump you up. It'll help you pump iron.
Pump you up.
And she gives the dad, she's like, oh, and this is just a regular shit drink for you, asshole. But as Felice is chopping up celery, it looks like, Brenda comes in the door and knocks into Felice and she cuts her fingers. And she sprays blood all over Brenda, you find out, because Brenda's got like blood all over her sweater.
Yeah. Like, that must have been a pretty good cut.
Yeah, because Brenda's like, oh, I'm a nurse, let me take a look at it. And she's like, I don't think so, it's pure blood. You're not going to touch me. And then Brenda starts sneezing. She's like, achoo. Achoo? Achoo, did you guys get a cat?
Oh, God. Like it was a question?
Yeah.
Achoo?
She's like, achoo, did you guys get a cat? And Felice is like, no, they didn't get the cat.
And you know what? I was thinking that she was part cat.
Yes, me too.
Like, I'm like, oh, okay, it's because all the leopard print and all of that. She's part
Yeah.
cat.
No, she just for some reason can control a cat. She taught that cat how to drive for the day that it would kill her sister.
Oh, it'd be cooler if she could like transform into like a leopard.
Yeah.
And then she goes out and
Yeah, see, you're making this movie so much better.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, she can just control a little feral cat. And you would think that you could just easily punt that thing if it was coming at you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Depends on the budget you have in the movie.
For Halloween, I watched the Leprechaun movie. Since We Hate Movies is going to talk about it, I had never seen it before. And that movie isn't scary to me because I'm like, I could just kick the shit out of that thing.
Yeah.
I know he can do magic and shit, but like he grabs and attacks people so many times, I just be like, kick it.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little troll.
Yeah, it's the same with Chucky. Like, you think you could take a doll coming at you. I know you don't like those movies.
Fucking hate Chucky. Goddamn him. He ruined my childhood.
So Brenda is like, oh, Felice, nice to meet you. Are you staying with the family? And Jack's like, hello. Yes, you can stay here with us, please.
Of course.
You can sleep in my bed. And then Heather, the friend of Amy, comes in and she's like, oh, I recognize you, Felice. You've been on the cover of magazines.
Vogue magazine.
Yeah, which this lady has really been on the cover of Vogue magazine, the actress.
For real.
Which, when we see her magazine covers in a minute, I thought that was really her magazine covers, but they've got like titles called like Town and Country and stuff. I don't know if those are real.
Oh. No, they are, but I don't know that they normally have models on them.
I don't know. It's strange, but
they normally have like recipes and shit.
So Heather tells the dad that they're going to go to the mall, like in Stranger Things.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
We just finished season 3. And the dad's like, the mall again? You guys live there.
No.
And Heather has a very weird saying. She's like, well, it's not like we're turning tricks.
I know.
You're like, whoa.
What happens at the mall?
Well, we'll find out in a second.
Is that what did happen? Is that where you can turn tricks?
Well, I mean, that's what I found out here, but...
Is she talking like cartwheels and shit?
No, unless that's what guys are into when they're having sex.
Oh!
Do a cartwheel on this penis.
I see.
The friend Heather does ask Felice if she's met Sting before they're like, let's go, get the fuck out of here. And Felice is like, it's like, oh no, she left the sunglasses in here. I have to go find her. So Felice runs out to give Heather her sunglasses, and she overhears Amy being like, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of Felice.
Mm-hmm.
She's weird. She keeps touching me. She touches my face. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. And now she has to stay at our house because Brenda said it, and now my dad's all like, sure, stay here with me. Us. I meant us.
Yeah, she was not about, she didn't want Felice to be around. And I don't blame her because I wouldn't want to be touched a lot.
No, I wouldn't either.
Unless it was like you, of course, but
Yeah.
if somebody that I don't know,
Touching me in the face?
like my aunt from out of town that I've never seen before,
Yeah.
starts rubbing on me and shit,
Very
and dry
strange.
humping my leg, I'm like, please stop.
Dry humping. Coughing up hairballs.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I don't even know you.
Be like, what is this hairball on the carpet? And Felice is like, I don't know.
It's like the lady in society.
Yes. So Brenda comes out of the house and says goodbye to Felice, and you can see she's got blood all over her shirt, but Brenda does have a funny expression where she's like, well, it was nice meeting you. Holy shit. She's like, this lady is fucking weird.
Like, this lady is psycho.
So we cut to the mall, and Amy, her sweater has like a gigantic bald eagle on it. I have no idea why, but it like takes up all of her shirt. But they're walking to the mall, and Heather and her are talking, and wouldn't you know it, they see that hoppin' cake factory that Terry works at.
Oh, yeah. And nobody's there.
Yeah, he does show him a cake, which I would have forgotten about had I not watched it again, but he shows them a cake. He was like, look at this fucking thing. These things are weird. People ask for anything, and it's the picture of a kid with like bones coming out of his eyes.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's his birthday, and it's supposed to be like the bones of his parents or something. And he's like, isn't that fucking strange?
That is weird. I mean, the parents would have had to have ordered that. I would have been like, no. You can't have a cake that shows
My
like,
bones?
You're eating your parents and
Yeah.
the bones are coming out your eyes? No.
Yeah, no, it's very strange. And they're all like, well, that's weird. And you hear the boss of the cake shop being like, hey, if they're not buying anything, get them the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And he was like, he's an asshole. What can you do? And so they leave.
He's a ball buster. I gotta go.
Yes. So we cut back to the house, and the dad just walks into a room, and he's all like, bursts in. And he's like, are you working out in here? And Felice is. She's like in her aerobics outfit.
The whole 80s aerobics outfit.
Yeah, where it's like a thong or whatever. It looks like it's going up the butt.
Yeah, but you got leggings, so
Yeah.
you can't see anything.
And he's like, oh, I didn't realize that you were in here. She's like, I heard you standing outside the door for hours.
Breathing really heavy.
Yeah.
And then I heard a bunch of smacking. I don't know what was happening.
So he was like, oh, I'm going to put some stuff away. And he pulls out this box, and he's got the crucifix in it. Felice is like, oh, I didn't like a dead man sleeping above my bed.
Ooh, can't blame her.
And he's like, well, I'm not feeling very religious at this moment either. And he runs into some of his wife's clothes. He sees it in the box, and he's all like, oh, God damn it, it's only been 5 months.
Right.
And she's like, well, you can throw away and donate some of her clothing. This is going to kill me. I may not do it for the rest of the episode.
And she's like, I'll help you.
Yes. I did put in here at some point that you thought that she was very quiet talking, and I made her think. I put in a note in here that she's like the lady from the diamond shop we went to.
Yes.
So the story behind that is when we were looking for wedding rings for Shelley, when we first were getting married, we went into Zales, I think it was.
Yeah.
In Branson, and this lady we were like, oh, what about this ring? And she's like, oh, this ring's very good. I like it. I'm like, what? It's like, I said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, this ring's very good. So that's been a running joke for us for years now.
And that was like, what, 6 years ago or 5.5 or so?
5.5, something like that,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. It's still so funny.
Yeah, every time there's like something quiet in the show, I'm like, that's like that lady. So we cut back to the mall, and Heather and Amy are going up this escalator. Heather is... When we watched it again, I made a note where I'm like, why is she wearing so many necklaces? Because she's got like 30 necklaces on, and Heather drops her lipstick. And she's like, oh no, like I've got to go get it. One thing we should say, I don't know if I said it, but Heather did say that Amy could stay with her the whole time Felice is there.
Yes, which is the reason why this is happening.
Yes, all of what is about to happen is going on because Felice does not want Amy to go stay at Heather's the whole time she's there.
Because then she can't possess her.
Then she can't give her health foods and stuff to make sure the body's good.
Yeah. She can't kiss her.
She can't kiss her, yeah. So Heather drops her lipstick, and Amy's all like, "Oh, just leave it." And she's like, "No, that lipstick was like $10 or whatever."
Right. Yeah. Some crazy.
Something. And she goes down to the escalator. It's like at the very edge of it. She picks it up, and wouldn't you know it, one of her 30 necklaces gets stuck in the escalator.
Yikes.
And it shows her, of course, as she falls over because her necklace is getting dragged up. You see this poor girl's underwear. She's wearing a skirt. And she falls over and is like, boing, right there to the audience, of course.
Which I didn't notice because I'm looking at her neck.
I noticed it because I was like, of course.
Right.
like, I don't know. I noticed it more because I'm just like, these people, like, these actors and directors are probably like, well, we got to see a shot of her underwear.
Well, of course.
I thought this girl died because she's getting dragged up this escalator. Amy calls for Terry's help, and he runs down the stairs and starts kicking the shit out of the side of this escalator where the stop button is.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, son of a bitch, I'm kicking this. And it won't stop, of course, but Heather is getting just like more and more trapped by her necklaces. You pointed it out. How did it go from like her neck to over her face?
Yeah, I don't know.
And she gets to the top of the escalator, and then blood just pours over Amy. It like splatters her, and she's like, "Oh my god, no!" And
Oh, that's right.
you see blood and some hair like in the escalator as it keeps going up.
Yeah, as it's circling around.
And I'm like, "This girl is dead."
Yeah, you would think. Then I will tell you that this part traumatized me
Oh, I bet.
as a kid because for the longest time I was so careful getting on an escalator.
Oh,
Like
really?
making sure, I didn't have anything dangling. My purse was, close to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was seriously scared. And even like to this day, it kind of scares me a little bit. Not that I think anything's going to, suck in there.
Yeah.
But they're just scary to me.
They can be, yeah. They're very scary. I've seen a video on Reddit a long time ago that I wish I never had seen of a person getting sucked into one.
Oh,
Like the gears and shit broke, and yeah.
no, let's not talk about that.
Nope. So you think that Heather is just dead, especially the way that they showed it, which this is another kind of Final Destination death.
It is.
We come back to the house, and Felice and Jack, the dad, I don't know why I keep saying Jack the dad, are sorting the mom's clothing to get it out. And Brenda and Amy come in, and they're like, "What happened?" And she's like, There was an accident at the mall. Heather was hurt. She's taken to the hospital, but she's going to be okay." And I'm like, no. No way. It looked like her head basically exploded.
She's just going to be cut up a little.
And then Amy sees that they're getting rid of the mom's stuff, and she flips out. She loses it, and the dad's like, "Oh, that went about, I wasn't wanting that to happen." And Felice says, "I'll go talk to her." And this is where we get this set up for something later, but Amy goes outside and is trimming the hedges with like a hedge trimmer. Angrily. She's like, "Son of a
Crying
bitch."
and stuff, yeah.
Like, "Fuck these hedges. Goddamn hedges." And Felice, just talks some shit to her. She's just like, "Oh, we're a lot alike. I lost my mom at a very young age, and my sister and I didn't get along very well, so I felt like I was alone, blah, 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 blah." And Amy's like, "Oh, well, I guess that's okay for now." Well,
The whole time touching her.
yeah.
Like Felice is still just, maybe it's the cat in her. She's just like, I have to touch everything. And
Yeah, that explains why
Your
she was
face.
licking her face.
yeah,
She's
her
like, we're
paw,
yeah.
her hand, and then her.
Well,
brushing
she's
her
licking
hair.
Amy's face. We're a lot alike.
Oh, yeah.
Before this, Felice had told the dad that she knows some people at a laboratory that she works for or had worked at that she would like to introduce him with because she heard that his business wasn't going well. So this is major scenes deleted now because Felice takes the dad to this workshop, this lab, that she says is from South America
Right, they moved from South America. Like,
to here now,
yeah.
to New York.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What are they working on?
Deleted.
And this old man, it's funny, his name is Jan Rubles, I believe. He has a card at the beginning of the credits where it's like, "And Jan Rubles as Terry Gordon."
Whoa.
I'm like, who's Terry Gordon?
Jan Rubles.
Jan Rubles played the old man in Mighty Ducks 2. He was kind of like the mentor.
Okay.
it blew my mind because he was not the same old man from the first Mighty Ducks, the guy who's in Lethal Weapon 2. It's a different old man who's kind of the same. He plays the first old man's brother in the second one.
Okay.
I thought it was the same old man the whole time, but that just shows you I don't pay attention when I was a kid.
Nah, it didn't matter.
But yeah, Felice introduces him to this lab guy, and she's like, Gordon Tobin, excuse me, everybody. She's like, Jack, this is Gordon Tobin. He is a lab man.
He's a lab man.
Yeah, she's like, I think that Jack would be very helpful to help you out here. He is an architect. And I'm like, oh, is that what he was?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, an architect and a lab man. That goes together.
I guess Gordon Tobin is like, oh, well, we want to open up a new building or whatever here, and we need somebody to design it. And the dad's like, yes, I would love to design this for you. And we see like blood being kind of mixed in the background, or what looks to be blood, and there's all these monkeys in cages.
Yeah.
So I was like, are there scenes deleted where she was working with this lab to kind of try and live forever or develop her blood?
I have no idea.
It does not come out as to what this lab is doing or why she is affiliated with it.
Yeah.
Who is Gordon Tobin?
Like maybe, because why? Because the whole thing is that she's like literally dying, so she has to transfer this parasite into somebody else.
Yeah.
So, or maybe she is trying to live forever. She's trying to reverse the dying.
I don't know. This guy shows up again in the movie like later, but it's just to talk about architecture stuff.
Yeah.
And so we cut back to Amy to the house, and she gets suspicious, so she goes into Felice's room, and it's going through her stuff. She finds her magazine covers, which I wonder if are real. And she also finds like a little mixing bowl. You know how you put like, you see it in movies and stuff where they put like powders or pills in and they grind it up into dust.
Right, yeah.
It's one of those, and it's got like blood in it and Heather's sunglasses.
Ooh.
And Amy's all like, oh my god. And she hears the car pull up, and Felice and the dad get out. So she puts all the shit back into her suitcase. She is about out of the door, but looks back for some reason, just to make sure everything looks good.
Yeah.
And she opens it, and Felice is like right there. Felice
She's
like pops
fast.
in. Yeah, like a cat.
Because she's a cat, yeah. She just pounded up those stairs.
Yeah, she's all like, Amy, what are you doing in my room? She's like, oh, I was just looking for something. And she's like, oh, did you see my African talisman that looks like he's sticking his tongue out at you? She's like, I collect them. It's a talisman from Africa. And she's like, it's supposed to carry the family spirit on through generations. And this has been our family forever.
I put that, she said it's old and shit.
Old and shit?
Yeah, because she started going on about how it's ancient. And I'm like, it's old and shit.
It's old and shit, Amy.
Old and sheet.
So Amy tries to tell the dad, that she thinks something is wrong, and she's like, I really think something's crazy up there. I went into her room, and he's like, Amy, you went into her room?
Oh, Amy.
She's like, but she had like one of those pill mixers or whatever, and blood was in it, it looked like, and Heather's sunglasses were there, and he's like, you are just crazy.
Oh, Amy, you're just making things up again.
And she's like, either it's going to be me or her in this house. One or the other. I do not want her here. And the dad is just like, well, I was really close to getting it in, I think. So can you stay like another night?
Can we make it happen just one more night?
And there's something funny here because it stays on the dad and Amy real quick, but you hear like a plane going overhead. And I wondered if they just accidentally caught that while they were filming.
Oh, maybe. And they were just kind of like,
He was like, all right, Amy, fine. We'll talk to Felice. Oh.
Somebody didn't cut that out.
Like, can we do take two? He's like, no, we don't have film to do that. You need money to do that. So the dad is talking to Felice, and he's all like, oh, my crazy-ass daughter has trauma because her mom died or some shit, and she doesn't like you being here.
She doesn't want another woman in the house and shit. So you got to get the fuck out. Maybe we can have sex here wherever you go.
Yeah. It's like, I think there might be a literal cat fight if you stay. And Felice is like, oh, that's fine. I'll stay in another hotel. I don't want to make her angry. So we cut to night, and the dad wakes up. He hears a noise and goes down into the kitchen. and he sees that like the door is open.
Yeah, you know what he grabs, to defend himself?
What is it?
An umbrella.
Yes. Because when he sees that the door is open, but it still has like the chain lock on it, he just puts the umbrella handle down on the chain lock, then the door shuts.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's secure.
Yeah, not at all.
Nobody's going to get in on that.
You can really slide through there pretty easily. Good. So he hears a sound in the cupboard behind him, and he opens it up, and like cereal falls down, and he's like, oh my god!
Cereal!
Yeah. And he picks it up, and there's this cat puppet right there in front of him.
Psycho.
It's like, hello, how are you? And it slashes him several times and just jumps out the window. It's funny the way it looks like when it goes out the window. It looks like someone threw it. Because I'm assuming it's like...
I bet. It's like, I'm going to go drive your car now.
I'm out of here. You hear it start. Vroom, take off. That cat just stole my car.
It'd be like...
So the next morning, Amy comes into the kitchen and she sees like Felice is putting ointment all over the dad's chest where he got scratched.
Got his shirt off.
Yeah, I'm sure Amy's just like, you know what? God damn it. I was hoping that this wasn't happening, but son of a bitch.
That's pretty much what she does. She's just like, I gotta go.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, Amy, why don't you say goodbye to your aunt? And she's like, whatever. And just leaves.
I'm a teenager. I'm gonna just do what I want.
Yeah, and the dad's like, well, it looks like I've got a teenager on my hands now. And they, So they start making out. Surprise to nobody.
I know. Here we go.
And we're cutting back and forth with Amy at her Catholic school. So poor Amy. Good Lord. Having to go to a fucking Catholic school.
Yeah, she's got the whole outfit on, the skirt and the shirt and shit.
Yeah, so... And shit.
That's the theme of this. Yeah. Towards the end of our episode, this is our theme, and shit.
And shit. Well, in the movie The Nice Guys, he keeps telling his daughter not to say and shit or and stuff. He's like, don't say and shit. Just say she's got the shirt on.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
no. So this is one of the weirdest scenes of the movie here. Their dad and Felice are having wild sex in the kitchen, and Amy is like feeling it.
This is weird. Like, she starts sweating and like she feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like when you have to take a massive shit.
Yeah.
And you can't. Like, you can't. So you're trying to hold it in.
She's like,
and then beads of sweat just starts forming on your forehead. And you're like, oh my God, I gotta wait until the bell rings so I can run out and hope I don't shit myself.
Well, the dad and Felice are like getting it on, and it cuts back to Amy, and she's just like, and you're like, is she feeling this? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And the priest that's giving this lecture, a priest talking about science, give me a break.
Mm-hmm.
There's a doll of like the human anatomy. It's like the torso, and the heart in the doll starts beating.
Yeah.
And you see like blood start coming out of it.
Eee.
And Amy gets up and runs out of the room, and you see that she has gotten her period.
Started her period.
Which they later explain that Felice's drugs or whatever, her drinks that she's been giving is making her like
menstruate.
Age? Or
yeah, something.
Why? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she talks to Brenda later, and Brenda's like, "Oh, it's probably all those vitamins that made you start menstruating earlier, or some shit." I can't remember.
I guess, yeah, because we see the dad and Felice are kind of like post-sex, and he's like feeling her back, and she has like this big, what looks to be like a scar on her back.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, what is this?" He's like touching her back. You said this dude probably improvised this, but the dad does suck on some titties like he's wanting them.
Yeah.
How does that song go? Sucking on his titties like you're wanting and calling them. However that song goes. There's a song, I forget. Please write in.
I guess maybe I haven't heard that, or I don't know the words. Like, I know the song, but you can't understand the words, so you're just like bopping along with it.
It's a song called by Peaches. It's called Sucking on My Titties.
Of course.
Oh my God. I just went to videos to try to find the music video.
Whoa.
And there's some pornography there.
See some titties?
I did. I'll play it later. Not the porn. I typed in sucking on my titties, and
the bathroom door is closed later.
No.
No, okay.
The song did come up, but if you try to find the video for it, yeah. Anyway, No, it's a song. I was just laughing at it. But you said that this guy was probably improvising that because he grabs her boobs and like starts sucking on them.
Maybe.
They're like, hey, Nicholas, no, we told you not to look in the camera. Don't just grab her boobs and put them in your mouth.
They have like a little fly swatter every time when he does something wrong.
No.
He's like, stop it. Stop it.
Or he sprays him like Mini-Me.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's better.
Yeah, but yes, there's a scene right here where Amy is at Brenda's and she's like, well, my period wasn't supposed to start for another couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I think it's all this health food shit that Felice has given me.
Yeah, all this health crap. Okay, so talking about health crap, it's so weird. Like anything made with almond flour, right, is healthy. I just got some cookies and they're made with almond flour.
Oh, God.
Not that great.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm trying though.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And we did eat stuff or use almond flour when we were on the keto diet.
The keto, yeah.
And it definitely tastes different.
It does.
So we see the dad in his little architect room or whatever, and Gordon Tubin calls in, of course, and is like, I just fired my architect for the new wing we're trying to open, and I would very much love if you could hire you and you do it for us. And
yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm going to have to work all night. And he's like, but I can get it, and I can come fly and meet you, and we'll get this started.
Yeah, right now. Who cares what my daughter's going through?
Yeah, so we see Amy at the food court. She's just kind of sitting there contemplating her life, and Terry sneaks up behind her and scares her, and we see them go talk on like a playground. She tells him everything that she thinks is wrong with Felice, and he, strangely, is like, how about this? How about I go over to her hotel room and I sort that bitch out?
Yeah, I'm gonna kick her ass.
That's what he says.
Yeah, he does.
It's fucking strange.
I wonder if he meant like he was gonna do her. Like, oh, she's pretty. I'm gonna go talk to her.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to her for you. Okay,
I'm gonna
Amy?
go bang her on her door.
See if she's okay, and then I'm gonna straighten her out.
Yeah, and she's like, no, please don't. Just don't make this any worse. And she's like, I'm just not a fan of her. I think something's really wrong. And he drops her off at the house and they kiss. She gives Terry a little kiss in the car before she goes inside the house.
One thing that I thought was weird on this one is, Amy, they were in the car and Amy's like, oh, thank you so much for listening to me. And then he like lightly punches her chin like, yeah, kiddo.
Put her there.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I don't think of you sexually at all. I just want your aunt.
It'd be funny if he's like, you're the best friend I've ever had.
But then she kisses him and he's like, well, okay, I guess I could still do your aunt though, right?
Is your aunt free? Your dad seems to be hitting that. Is he hitting that?
I gotta get your aunt.
So she goes in and Jack, her dad, is very pissed off at her. He's like, damn it, where have you been?
Mm-hmm.
He says it very funny. I don't remember how he says it, but I wrote in my notes it was very funny.
I don't know.
He says that he has to go out of town, and now we're cutting back and forth with Felice. Sean Levy does go to her hotel room. How he finds it, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe Amy was like, well, she's staying at the Hilton Honors.
He used his dick sonar.
His dick sonar. Or he used his ability as a cake cop to get in to where he was like...
Oh, yeah.
Which I would love to have that show, Cake Cops. It's like, excuse me, ma'am. He has a badge. He's like, Cake Cop. Can you tell me what hotel room Felice is in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're like, you have to answer him.
You have to. It's Cake Cop.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, it's almost worse than the police. They'll really get on you.
You got to shoot some people for smuggling frosting in.
Yeah.
And like the cops do the whole thing where he's like, pure frosting.
Buttercream.
Yeah. Pure buttercream, boys. Cake Cops. This Friday.
TM. We got that.
Yeah, trademark, yeah. Well, he flashes his Cake Cop badge and obviously somehow gets to her hotel room and he's like, excuse me, man, Cake Cop. I'm allowed to come in and search if I feel like there's a threat. He pulls out like a card from his wallet and he jimmies the door.
Yeah, because you could do that.
When you're a Cake Cop, you can do anything you want.
True.
You can grab him by the pussy.
Whoa.
Well, that's what Trump said.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that audio came back to bite him in the ass. Except it didn't because he became president. It's like when you're famous, you can do whatever you want. You can grab him by the pussy.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
But in this instance, he was grabbing the cat.
Yes, the cat.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a Cake Cop. I can do whatever I want. I can grab your pussy.
Uh-huh. which
pet
is
it.
your psycho cat that can drive.
Yeah, somehow.
That's what that means.
He comes into the room and he sees her like she's naked again and she's got like paint all over her and
Yeah.
she's doing like a weird ritual. He freaks out and runs out and he realizes that wouldn't you know it, his earring stud has fallen out again.
Oh, damn it. Who's going to suck it off now?
Felice. Felice is going to suck it off
Yeah, she is.
when she's sending him to hell.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to the house, and the dad is trying to make up with Amy, and she's like, Dad, something's seriously wrong with Felice. I forget how it comes out, but he basically tells her that they had sex. Because he says something about the scar on her back.
Yeah, Amy's already talked to Terry. After Terry saw Felice,
Yes.
he calls Amy.
Mm-hmm.
He's all like, yo, I said I wasn't going to go see your aunt, but I wanted to stick it in. I'm the cake cop. Got to make sure everything's good.
I went over there to bust her. I heard that she had some cupcakes, illegal cupcakes.
Some off-brand frosting. Can you believe it?
Bogota frosting. Yes, he sees her back and it's all like fucked up.
Mm-hmm. And that's when Amy tells her dad that, and her dad's like, oh, it's just a birthmark. And then there's like silence. Like,
She's like, when did you see her back?
fuck.
He's like, what? I saw her back when we were fucking.
When I had my penis inside her. What? No, shit. That doesn't sound better.
And Amy has a funny reaction. She like lunges at him and she's like, you fucked her.
Oh, that's just awkward.
So they fight, and the dad's like, you know what? Who gives a fuck? I'm going on going on a work trip tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go on vacation. Fuck off.
Fuck you. I'm going on vacation with Felice.
Fuck off, kid.
He says, I'm going on a work trip, and we cut back to Terry, and he's in his car driving, and wouldn't you know it, the cat tries to push him out of the way to drive for him.
Yeah.
And it starts attacking him.
He's like, this is my job, bitch.
Yeah, I can drive better than you.
I'm the pussy here.
I only have one death on my hands. We cut back and forth now between him getting attacked and Felice, like, doing this ritual because she can control the cat somehow.
And she keeps, like, bobbing her head to the side.
Yeah.
To get the cat to, like, do whatever it needs to do. Like, go this way,
Yeah.
go that way. Like, she just kind of nods her head different
And it looks
directions.
like she's jerking the statue off, too.
Exactly. She's getting off.
She's like, she does, yeah, because
Yeah.
Sean Levy, he gets attacked and shit, and I think he throws the cat out, or does he get the cat out of the car somehow?
It goes back and forth because he's
Yeah.
got a Jeep that's got a soft top.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes into play in how the cat kind of gets in.
Well, basically, he pulls over to get out of the car, and right as he gets out of the car, he gets smashed by this gigantic truck.
Yeah.
And Felice, it shows her, she comes here. She's like, "Blah."
Yeah. She's like, oh, he died. Yes.
Jack now stops by Brenda's house and tells her, oh, can you look in on Amy? I gotta go on a business trip. He once again lets that he had sex with Felice. I forget how he does it here, too, but Brenda has a line where she's like, oh, it's none of my business. I don't know why you told me. And he's like, I'm telling everybody.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't I?
I wrote in my notes here, I'm like, dude, your wife has been dead 5 months, and your wife was, I'm assuming, your best friend and soulmate.
Yeah, because they were like, touchy-feely at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So they were in love. And 5 months? 5 months?
It's not very long at all.
No.
It's like my grandfather who got married 2 months after my grandma died.
Yeah, just weird.
So Brenda is all suspicious now of Felice, and she's doing laundry and finds her sweater that has her blood all over it, which, if it's been sitting that long, there's no way you're going to get that blood out.
No, absolutely not.
Unless you put some shit on it, but man, you think you'd wash that real quick.
Unless she sprayed it as soon as she got home.
Yeah, so she calls the lab in the office that she works at and is all like, oh, can you guys analyze blood on a shirt from 5 months ago?
Yeah.
I guess Amy and Terry had a date to meet up at the playground again, but Felice shows up, Terry doesn't. And so Amy runs off and they start a big chase, and they go into where you would think a church.
Yeah, because Amy's like, I gotta be in a safe place, and that's where she thinks it's safe.
I guess. Well, It's kind of funny because she runs up to the priest from the beginning of the movie and she goes, "My aunt is following me." And he's like, "Your mom's sister?" Like, yes, that is what an aunt is.
Yes, dumbass.
And he was like, "Oh, Amy, your mom wasn't really all there. She thought that your aunt probably had schizophrenia and she thought that she was like a witch."
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, can you just tell people that? What about priest-patient confidentiality?
Well, it's out of the window because Hillary's dead.
I guess so.
Hillary's the mom.
Yes, the mother, Hillary, that has died. Felice comes into the church and she's like, "Amy, come on, we need to leave." And the priest is like, I'm going to call the dad here. I don't know what's going on." And she's like, "You need to leave." And she's like, "Well, if you really believed in God, I wouldn't have been able to come into this church at all."
Yeah, and then she takes his Bible and runs it across his chest and it burns him.
For no reason. I
No
don't know
reason
why.
at all, because that is weird, yes. Like, maybe he's a demon?
I don't know.
No, he's not a demon.
Why
Maybe
is
he's
it-
evil?
I think she's evil. I don't know.
Oh.
Why does religion play such a part in what this parasite can and can't do?
Is he a vampire?
I just don't get it.
I'm going to say vampire. Yep. Write in if you think something
Yep,
different.
you know what? Vampire. Whatever.
He's a fucking vampire.
It's one of the vampires from What We Do in the Shadows. Laszlo as a parasite.
It's like that, that show that we watched with the vampire.
Oh, Midnight Mass?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The priest comes back to the town and is like, "I have found this parasite that will help you be even better if you just let it in."
Yeah, just let it in. Open your heart and let God in. Parasite.
And God is this parasite.
God is in reference of this parasite.
It's basically a tapeworm.
Okay, so I'm going to lose weight. This is good.
Yeah.
I'm in, I think.
Do you guys want to lose weight and look good? There you go.
Hell yeah.
So, Felice is chasing Amy throughout the church. Amy stabs her in the fucking neck with some scissors.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, we are moving on here now.
And you could see, it's so funny how, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like the older movies, whenever they do like a major scene like this,
Yeah.
it is so spot on. Like, it's not a natural angle.
Yeah.
It's straight on. It's
Yes.
exactly how they want it to be. It's picture perfect. You can see all of the scissors through her neck, going out the other side of the neck. It's just perfect.
You gotta show that shit off.
Yeah.
They paid for that effect and they're gonna show it.
I guess so.
So Felice pulls the scissors out of her neck and Amy just passes out.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God.
I mean, I guess. I don't know if that would
Yeah.
be my reaction, but I've never been in that situation, so.
So we see this priest is driving and he's trying to talk to the dad on the phone. He calls his office, and at this point I was like, I thought the dad went out of town, but we find out that the dad is at his office working through the night, and then he's going to get on a plane and leave. Mm-hmm. But the priest tries to call the dad, and the guy at the office is like, I'm sorry, he's not answering. He didn't turn on his nightline.
Yeah, jeez.
We cut back and forth, Brenda trying to get this blood analyzed. Felice is, I wrote in here, she's again trying to jerk this statue off, trying to kill the priest as he's
Yep.
going to the dad.
Because Amy and Felice are back home now. Back to Amy's house. And yeah, Felice is doing all this mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. Felice does stab herself and like blood pours onto the statue
Eek.
and it eats it up. It's like nom, 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 with its tongue.
Thank you. I was hungry.
The priest does run into the building and he's like, I've got to see Jack. And this guard is just like, well, okay. It's like, I'm assuming 10 o'clock at night, but you can go up there if you just sign in. I'm like, I don't think you can come in at certain times.
The guard's like, okay, calm down.
Yeah.
Sign this book and you can go anywhere in this building.
Yeah, and I won't have to come with you. You can just do whatever you want.
I don't even know why I'm here.
Felice does have like a page of the Bible of this priest because you kind of realize that she needs something from the people that she's going to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And she folds the page of the Bible into like a little person and she pours like some of her blood on it.
Yeah.
And then this priest is like going up in the elevator to the dad's business and she sets the page of the Bible on fire.
Eek.
And this priest goes up in flames.
He does. He spontaneously combusts.
Yeah, I guess. Well, he goes up, and the dad is finally finished with his work. The dad is waiting for an elevator, and the elevator opens, and he gets in it, and then the one with the priest opens up on the side, and you see like his body, his charred corpse fall out.
Yeah.
And the dad just missed it.
Yeah.
Which I read somewhere that you can see people push this body out of the elevator, like the crew. I guess you can like.
It does kind of fall out when the doors open.
Yeah. And at this point, again, the Stranger Things reference, Felice has a nosebleed from all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. And that's the first time we've ever seen it.
Yeah, like that causing it from her, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at the lab, and Brenda is like sitting there with this dude trying to analyze this blood, and this guy comes in and he was like, "Hey, everybody, we got a road pizza that came in. Got to identify the body."
Yikes.
And it was like he was in a Jeep or something, and Brenda recognizes immediately that it was Terry.
Yeah.
And she freaks out and starts to leave right when the lab guy comes out, and he's like, "Is this some kind of a fucking joke?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "This is blood from like a dead corpse.
What?
It's a corpse that's been dead for a while, obviously." She's like, "Oh my God." So we cut down, we see the dad's at the airport, he's getting on the plane. I'm like, what fucking time is it? It was like
getting on the red eye or whatever it's called.
I guess it was pitch black outside when he told Amy he had to go on a business trip. So like, how long has he been working? When did he leave?
We'll say it's 1 a.m.
Sure.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So Brenda does call the airport, and the lady is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't." It shows that he got on the plane, which now today, I don't think they would fucking say that.
No.
Says, "We can't get him off the plane. He's already checked in." And she's like, "Fuck your goddamn rules. This is a medical emergency."
Yeah. You tell him.
So they get the dad off the plane, which, again, I don't think would happen. Not today, at least, I don't think. But he gets on the phone with Brenda, and she's like, "Jack, I had Felice's blood analyzed." He's like, "What the fuck?" She's like, it's like blood from a corpse. And he's like, "What? This is crazy." And then she's like, "And Terry was hit and killed by a truck." And he's like, "Come pick me up right now." Like Terry was the breaking point.
Yeah, like, oh, forget that. I'm a necrophiliac now, but oh gosh, Terry was hit by a truck. I gotta go.
Yeah. So Brenda does pick him up. It's so funny. She stops outside of the airport and she gets out of the car and lets him drive. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'd be like, maybe he's a little too much hopped up right now. How about I drive?
Yeah, I don't know. That is weird.
And as they're driving, Jack is like, "Oh, she's going to try and possess my daughter." And I'm like, "Possessed? Who said possessed?"
Yeah.
Like, no one said anything about possession at this point.
Deleted scenes.
Deleted scenes, yeah. So they pull up to the house, and he says he's going to go in to try and save Amy. And Brenda's like, "If you're not out in 5 minutes, I'm going to panic."
Yeah. It's like, what is that? If I'm not out in 5 minutes, wait longer.
That's from Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
I forget which one. "If I'm not in 5 minutes, just wait longer." So Jack is like walking around the house. It is very funny. He tries to walk up the stairs to go up to the room where Felice and Amy are, and every time he steps on a stair, it creaks.
Oh, of course.
He's like, "Damn it. God damn it. Oh, come on."
There's no sneaking up these stairs.
And Felice kind of gives a little bit of an explanation to Amy here now. She's like, "Oh, Amy, if you leave, I'll die." And she's like, "You owe this to me, Amy, because we're the same bloodline." That's about as much as you get.
Yeah.
Jack comes in and Felice sees him, and I don't remember exactly what happens, but the phone rings because Brenda calls.
This is so stupid.
It is, because he's on the phone and he's all like, "Oh, hey, Brenda. Yeah, I'm here. I'm okay." And you hear her on the other line being like, "Get the fuck out of the house." Like, "Yep, Brenda, we're doing okay in here."
Well, he actually called her Katie or something, like a completely different name.
To throw her off.
Yeah, because he didn't want to let in on that Felice that it was Brenda or anything. So he's like, "Katie? Yeah, I'm okay. Everything's fine." And the whole time Brenda's like, get out now.
And you can totally hear it. And I think Felice is looking at him like, "Oh, this isn't working." But yeah, he's like, "Oh, hi, Katie." "Jack, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of the house." "Katie, it's good to hear from you. I'm doing okay." "You're not gonna fucking die." "All right, Katie, good to hear from you. I'm doing all right. I'll talk to you later." "No." Hangs the phone up. So Felice and the dad start like having sex again here.
Yeah, she's like, one more time, baby.
Yeah, I think he's trying to just get her away from Amy, maybe.
Yes, yeah, I think ultimately he's just trying to occupy her, hoping that Brenda gets her head out of her ass and comes in and helps.
Yeah, yeah. So they're having sex, and the faces this dad's making are funny. If you guys watch the movie, just keep a lookout on that. He's like, eyes go. He looks like Dan Aykroyd when he gets a blowjob in Ghostbusters. He's like, oh. Passes out. Brenda does come into the house, and the feral cat rushes her. And I think she gets out of the house, and she's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. It's like, I'm allergic to those.
Yeah, that doesn't come back at all. Amy wakes up, and she hears her dad. It looks like Felice is kind of draining the life out of him at this point. It doesn't go anywhere, but that's what I kind of saw. Brenda downstairs goes into that same pantry and finds a gun, and she holds it like she holds it with like 2 fingers.
Yeah.
She's like, a gun.
You've seen movies, right? Yeah. You know a little bit.
Brenda goes up and gets Amy. She's like getting her out of the house, and a doll squeaks, and Felice is like, oh, she hears him.
Yeah.
That doll, for some reason, is bleeding from the eye I wrote down. I don't know why.
That is weird, too. But, dolls are fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should not own any dolls.
So Brenda and Amy... Yes. No, not at all.
I was waiting. I'm like, is he going to say anything?
Looking through my notes, and I'm like, what happens next? Yes. Okay, anyway. Oh, dolls. Right, no. Amy and Brenda get out. They're at the pool, and Amy is, like, throwing up. I'm assuming because of this shit that Felice has been giving her.
Yeah. Again, kind of weird, but okay.
Felice starts to control the statue again with the cat, and the dad comes in and, like, smashes the statue.
Oh, shit.
He tells Felice to go to hell. He's like, go to hell! And she's like, not yet. The cat is down in the pool area, and he, like, jumps on Brenda. Brenda stabs it with a rake and throws it into the bug zapper.
Yeah, and Amy does nothing to help.
No.
She is like, I'm just going to watch this play out, see what happens.
Right. Yeah, no, not at all. So with the cat dead, Felice comes down to try and take care of it herself. She's like crawling like a cat on all fours. She and Brenda get into it. Brenda points a gun at her, and Felice is like, you can't kill something that's already dead. And in their scuffle, they knock over the grill that was in the movie earlier, and like this thing is shooting flames out like it's a fucking flamethrower.
Yeah.
It's like the propane tank on it. It's like keeps continually shooting out fire. So I think she knocks Brenda out by knocking her over the grill, and Felice does grab Amy.
Yeah, the first, though, Brenda does shoot Felice.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. That's right.
Right in the forehead.
Right. Doesn't it heal?
No.
Or does she just have it?
It throws her head back, and then she just puts her head back straight. Like, I told you, you can't kill me.
Yeah. I totally forgot because, yeah, Brenda, she's like, you can't kill something that's dead. And Brenda's like, you want to fucking bet?
Yeah.
And shoots her right in the head.
I've never shot a gun, but I'm going to get this perfectly right in your forehead.
Perfectly in the head right now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't see it in the movie, but she's probably standing, like, right next to her.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty close.
I don't know. Yeah, she knocks Brenda over the propane grill, and flames start shooting out of it. Felice does grab Amy, and Amy's just like, what do you want? And she's like, the kiss.
Yeah, and shit.
And this is where the parasite finally comes out of her mouth.
Yeah.
It's like this white worm type thing that comes out of Felice's mouth and is trying to go into Amy's.
It's really weird. And I get, it could swim.
Yes, like a snake. It's like swimming. Because the dad finally shows back up again and pulls Felice off of Amy.
Yeah, because it does go in like Amy's mouth. It's a weird moment
for a minute.
where Felice it's coming out of Felice's mouth and going into Amy's.
Yeah.
And she's all like, Amy's like, oh, yuck, ooh, it's slimy.
Ew.
I don't like it. I don't want it in my mouth.
And so the dad like grabs Felice, and they're like fighting in the pool. Amy comes back with the previously set up hedge trimmers and stabs it through Felice while it's turned on. And she's like, right through her.
But it does nothing.
No, yeah, the snake does come out of Felice completely, and it's like swimming in the pool towards Amy.
He's like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, and the dad has a funny line where he's like, Amy! He pushes the propane tank in the water and it blows up. Blows the parasite up, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the whole time, Brenda's trying to get Amy out of the pool, but Amy keeps slipping back in the pool.
Yeah.
And that's why the dad was like, Amy, like to get out because he's going to throw this propane tank in there and he knows it's going to blow up.
Yeah. I think while she's trying to get out of the pool, we see Felice one last time and she's like skeleton kind of messed up now that the parasite's out.
Right.
But she gets kicked back into the water and then, the dad kicks the propane tank in and it blows everything up. And I thought that Amy was still in the pool at the moment, but you see that she had gotten out.
Mm-hmm. Just in the nick of time.
So Jack says to Amy, he's like, it's over. He's like, I love you so much, Amy. And they all kind of put their arms around each other and walk away. And the last shot of the movie is like the handprints all the family had done in the cement when the house was being built, I'm assuming.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's like, the Halloran family. The Kiss! Credits. Dun, 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 dun.
Whoa.
So she was possessed by a parasite that got passed down from generations. She could control a cat.
Yeah.
She was part of a huge pharmaceutical, not pharmaceutical, but some lab company.
And shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy. I thought it was pretty fun. There's some kills in here. I did find something on Wikipedia that says the movie that came out, it got okay reviews, didn't really do great. But there was a critic that said that this movie is an allegory for the AIDS crisis.
What?
And I'm like, well, it was the 80s. Maybe he just didn't know what... It's like, well, the AIDS crisis where, this parasite comes out of someone's mouth that has AIDS and comes into you and you get it?
Oh, that one. No.
No. That doesn't make any sense.
None at all.
No. Because the AIDS crisis also does not let you control feral cats to kill people.
That's true.
So I don't know what that critic was talking about.
Yeah, but they have no idea.
But it was like, oh, this movie works as a great allegory for the AIDS crisis in the 80s that we're going through now. I'm like, not at all.
Mm-mm.
Not at all.
But thanks for your opinion. We really appreciate that.
Maybe in the scenes deleted, she had to kill people with her blood, like pouring it into their mouth or something. I don't know, but... Anyway, I had never seen this movie before, and I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not great, but I think it's just like one of those, you gotta see it.
Yes.
You just have to.
Yeah, it's just fun to watch, and it was definitely fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Which that's what we just try to do here, is try to find fun movies to talk about.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you guys listening, and you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram. You can email us at thefilmobsessedcouple@gmail.com. We would love for you to leave a review, and that would be amazing. A lot of very wonderful people have done that so far. We really appreciate it. And that's that.
Yep, that's that. So now what you could do, if you've just listened to this, is you can go ahead and listen to our second episode we've now released on Halloween.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not particularly you in the back, but some of you voted for it. When we put the poll on our Twitter, It is Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
So we will meet you there. Go ahead and get that started, and we'll see you over there in just a minute.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.